Okay, I'm delighted to introduce you a man who is born in Eritrea. He personally is a refugee, and his name is Meron Semedar, and his surname means richness. And may you let us know how you keep your joy, that's what you say, the joy is your source, how you keep your joy alive with all what happened to you. Please give him a big hand.
Thank you, Reitz, for the nice introductory. Delegates, I will be speaking on human rights and my experience as a refugee. Good afternoon. It's promising to live in a century where there is greater recognition of human rights than ever before. But it's very sad to simultaneously observe the lives of many people being more difficult than ever before. Many refugees experience physical and psychological torture, and many others even die in their effort trying to run away from the oppressive regime. Even worse, after escaping the oppressive regime, the harassment continues with the resentment of the locals in the host countries. I'm a victim of some of the things that I have just mentioned, escaping cruelty and an oppressive regime at the age of 17, searching for freedom. Like many other Eritreans, I had to walk for more than 20 hours, restless and fearful, crossing the border to the Sudan, and then eventually I made my way to South Africa. Prior to my arrival in the Sudan, I was being conscripted permanently into military service. Nevertheless, as my dream was to pursue my tertiary education and to become a productive citizen, which was not possible in Eritrea as the university was closed, I had no choice but to leave my country. At the start, I had nothing, but by working long hours as a waiter, I was able to put myself through tertiary education, pay rent, keep body and soul together with no help from anyone else. In most nations, as a refugee, you live in a fenced camps with little food and in some cases limited educational opportunities. Hence, refugees have been denied of opportunity within the host nations. They depend on donor organizations, which leads to dependability and lack of self-esteem. Today, we find even refugees in democratic nations not being well respected and recognized. We have seen this in a form of harassment, xenophobic attack, and deportation. Since refugees could not get assistance to further their studies and to look for a better life, it is that what forced us to start an organization known as Unity for Tertiary Refugee Students. Its aim to assist refugees in furthering their tertiary education by getting them bursaries, scholarships, internships, advocating for newcomers to help them get their identification papers, educate refugees on their rights within the host nations, provide counseling, and share experiences. Our skills also include developing leadership skills, share some issues of human rights, and engage in peaceful demonstration to ensure our voices are heard. Partly, since the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, has shown insignificant assistance to assisting refugees to further their studies and to get any support. But most importantly, as of my own experience, I was denied of the normal life of any young person, as all my energy went towards supporting my education with no time for life extras. This is what inspired me to contribute in assisting other refugees while I'm a refugee. In addition, I could not endure any human being to go through the same hardship that I went through to further my education. The most rewarding thing is to see when a refugee graduates and seeing them happy, which initially seemed impossible. My other involvement also includes with the Eritrean Movement for Democracy and Human Rights, which is based in South Africa, which I serve as an executive committee member. Eritrean Movement for Democracy and Human Rights is a civic organization aimed at promoting human rights and justice for fellow citizens Through this, we mobilize, campaign towards overcoming the current oppressive regime and make the future democratic Eritrea a reality. Every now and then, we hear of the G8, G20, the United Nations, the African Union summits being held. But the issue of human rights has been marginalized, despite the fact, according to the United Nations statistics of 2010, there are an estimated 6 million people living with no recognition from any state, who are described as stateless, and an estimated 44 million people worldwide were forcibly displaced by conflicts in the last 2 decades. Fellow young men and women, if I could leave you with a humble request, it would be to accommodate refugees within your country, to help them integrate into the society, encourage governments to provide greater assistance in providing educational opportunities, and recognize the richness that refugees contribute in making host countries multicultural, and in addition to enhancing the values to the economy. Delegates, I feel compelled to close my speech by encouraging all of you to join the campaign of respecting human rights and uplifting the oppressed and minority in your respective countries. As a refugee, I pledge to excel my assistance in making the dream of any refugee possible and to become part of the solution towards what it seems endless increasing number of refugees. The hope of any refugee, delegates, is to live a useful, peaceful, and happy life somewhere in the world, just as you do. To live a useful, peaceful, and happy life just somewhere in the world as you do. Thank you very much.